Hey everyone. So I wanted to let you know that out of all the videos from last stream, this most recent one on clinicians and maintaining minor confidentiality was probably the worst as far as the dropping out. I've gone through and edited to the best of my ability. There's some fade ins and fade outs to kind of make up for when stream dropped. I think the argument's still pretty coherent, but I beg your forgiveness as far as that. So I am still learning. But yeah, if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. I also want to make it very clear to the transphobes that recently started commenting on my videos. Hooray, I've made it. I also want to be very clear that all comments actually don't make it to me. They're actually filtered through another person, and I have to approve all comments. There's very specific lists and rules that we have for what comments get approved. I don't mind people arguing, and I certainly don't mind people disagreeing with me, but let's be very clear. People choosing to say things like, "You'll never be a woman," are never going to get approved. So I'm just telling you this so that you, transphobe, don't waste your time. With that said, please enjoy the video and feel free to give me a tip on Streamlabs. The link will be down below. Or you can become a patron on Patreon. That link's also down below. Awesome. Thanks. Bye, guys. Hi, my name's Jess, and I am a bit perturbed. Let me explain. So as a therapist, one of the groups of people that I work with a lot are adolescents, often adolescents that are queer. And I'm very protective over them, particularly because I know what it's like being a queer teen and having no fucking idea what to do. In fact, modern Zoomers are brilliant fucking kids. They have this shit way more down than I ever could have back in my day. Goddamn, I'm old. Here's the concern. A conversation broke out on Twitter that I happen to be a part of that was really frustrating because while I got a lot of really positive feedback and a fuck ton more follows on one of my accounts, it did lead to this really bizarre issue of people not really fully understanding how confidentiality works with minors. A lot of people were arguing that the break of confidentiality is illegal with minors, and you would be correct, except in the case of parents. And this is where the argument really comes in. Parents, by definition, as guardians, have the ability to essentially access their kid's medical record at any point. If your notes are included in that, then by definition, they will know the things that happened in your session. Simple as that. They absolutely can do this because children, and this is the argument, can't give consent. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but the idea in this case is that a child can't give consent, and as such, they, by definition, cannot give consent to treatment, which means their parents have to do it for them, and thus the parent as a guardian has access to their stuff. Now, here's the thing. Any good therapist, by definition, is probably going to do their best to give parents more of a general idea of what's going on. Whenever we're talking about working with minors, the issue is that we have to maintain their trust. We have to maintain their care, and we need to make sure things are safe. If something's going on that's really bad, something that would normally break confidentiality, such as someone's about to hurt them, they're about to hurt someone else, there's a dependent in trouble, such as a child or an elder, or I get subpoenaed, those things all can break confidentiality. The thing is with children is that the gray areas are really problematic because some therapists have a bad fucking tendency to, how do I say this? Act like mouthpieces for parents. Now, I can understand the parent urge at some level to want to know what's going on in a session. Some people really struggle with the idea of what's not known about them to family members and that. But I encourage you to think about this from a child's perspective. If you're a teenager and you're going to therapy for something like, say, self-harm. By the way, for those who are watching the video after this, some of the cuts might be really weird because we've been dealing with internet issues like all night, and it sucks. We'll just try to power through them and get this stuff done. So, why am I bringing up this issue with clinicians and how they work with minors? The big issue here is that I am fundamentally against this idea of acting as a mouthpiece for parents. While I can understand the urge to want to know what's going on in a session, this absolutely breaks a kid's trust. And Many lay people who are not mental health professionals are not aware of this stuff. I am not a lawyer, though I've recently spoken to one. And the fact of the matter is that, like, we are in a really tight situation of needing to make sure the parents have the information that is necessary to deal with the situations that they're put through. However, the biggest issue here is that you have to be very choosy with this information. And so the reason I'm bringing this all up is, like, as I said, there was a Twitter discussion. I'm not going to show the girl's Twitter account because I think that's inappropriate. But essentially what happened is there was a teenage girl who was 17. She had been outed as queer to her parents. Not necessarily pan or bi, but she just identified as queer. Cool. Love it. However, one of the big issues is that in some ways, what actually happens is that when a therapist outs a queer teen, by definition, what they are doing is harm. Unless this kid's behavior is somehow actively causing harm, that is a fucking problem. Because yes, we are supposed to tell parents when something has gone to the level of harmfulness, that is significant cutting, risky behaviors, things that could come to the child's, directly into the child's, like, against their well-being. And so when this teenager posted this idea, what essentially happened is that this therapist, whoever they may be, broke this kid's fucking trust. Now, we can argue from the legal perspective that they did nothing wrong, because technically, telling the parents there's probably a way they could probably half-assed, if you squinted it, create a judgment that would actually, support their dumbass argument. And depending on the parents and how authoritarian they are, please refer to my parenting video, where I will probably talk about that again soon. But if the parents are authoritarians, they're not going to give a fuck how they got the information. Force is fine. So we as therapists have to be the barrier in some ways to make sure parents have the information they need, but that they never have information that's going to actively hurt the kid. If you're dealing with Christian fundamentalists, the best concern is not to ever out your fucking kid as being pan. And so this kid, of course, got a ton of support on Twitter, which was great. I posted and said that this person acted unethically. Because legally speaking, I don't know how easy it would be to prove anything happened as far as negativity, as far as the therapist. But if we're talking about code of ethics stuff, as far as I can find, every mental health profession is really dodgy about this because it is really complicated. Right? So, like, let's look at a couple things as sources to kind of support my point, because I think this stuff is really important. So this comes from goodtherapy.org. I like some of their articles in the past. And so let's read through this a little bit and get some ideas. I'll try to put these links in the video description. So let's get started. For therapy to be optimally effective, a person must be able to disclose their thoughts, feelings, and experiences and behaviors without fear of judgment. They must also be confident that their therapist will not share this information with third parties. The ability to be vulnerable in therapy can support a strong therapeutic alliance. I hate the term alliance. And can help a person recover more quickly. For minors, however, the right to privacy is limited. Legally speaking, people under the age of 18 do not typically have a right to confidentiality in therapy. However, some therapists ask parents to agree to the therapist's confidentiality rules before they treat a client. I did this a lot at my previous job. I actually have a form for that because I'll be very clear that I won't break that privacy. Additionally, though minors do have a legal right to privacy, do not have legal right to privacy from their parents, their right to privacy from third parties, employers, is similar to that of adults. Why is confidentiality important for children? Therapeutic confidentiality is key to effective treatment for numerous reasons, including building and preserving a strong therapeutic alliance. The benefits of confidentiality include increased cooperation in treatment, because if the kid doesn't think you're a mouthpiece, they're actually going to say some shit. Ensuring a child gets effective treatment, because if the kid just stops engaging in therapy, they might just fucking leave, or they might just stop engaging with you, in which case you're not actively helping them. And if you out this kid, you're doing fucking harm. 3, protecting the child from risk of homelessness or abuse. This is a big one. Holy shit, I love this article. So if you're a therapist and you've decided that you're going to, at some level, out this poor queer teen who's just lost their way to their parents who are Bible-thumping authoritarians, this is how kids end up on the street. You are actively doing harm to your client. Knock it the fuck off. Like, full stop. Knock it the fuck off. The idea, the notion that in some ways you don't know that a kid's going to get the shit beat out of them because they turn out to be trans. Like, what? Like, you know better. You know better. You know the statistics. You know kids that are trans get kicked the fuck out. You know if these kids are more likely to subject physical abuse. The fuck are you doing? So yeah. On top of that, it says here, protecting the child from third parties. Right? So if you out this kid and this information somehow gets out more thoroughly, and we're back. God damn it. Again, protecting the child from third parties. This is important. If you see friends of theirs, don't share shit between them. This is fucking brain one stuff. Improving the parent-child relationship. Some parents may worry that secrets will undermine the relationship with their child, but when a child can openly discuss their feelings in therapy, then the relationship with others, including parents, may improve. Hanging Wednesday keeps talking shit against the CIA operatives that are running YouTube. YouTube algorithm freezing for you taking a stance against authoritarian parents. Yeah. It hates this. It rubs the lotion on its... And we're back. I apologize to everyone for the tech issues. We will make it through this segment. I promise. So again, if parents think that having secrets is going to cause a fucking problem, that's an issue. Because secrets allow for a kid to feel trusted, to feel like they can actually trust you and make decisions. This is the regular argument that I actually talk to parents about because they don't like this truth, but it's what it is. When you are a parent, and I made this mistake a lot as a parent, so I'm not fucking exempt from this either, the question is never, can you control them or not? The question is, and always will be, do you know what's going on with them or not? Because my argument is the more authoritarian your parenting gets, the more likely it is that your kid will, to some degree, hide shit from you. In fact, I've said this to parents before. Let's do a hypothetical. If your kid wanted to have their partner, say they're 16, they have a 16-year-old partner, we're not getting into like really complicated shit, and it's like, would you let them stay over? It just keeps freezing, guys. We'll try to get through this. So what my hypothetical to parents is this. If they wanted to have a friend stay over, would you let them? And the parents, of course, say no. And my suggestion is okay, but if they want to have sex, they will. They will find a way. Life finds a way. YouTube freezing on sexual ethics. YouTube just hates my fucking stream. It's fucking awful. So, long story short is that when I present this hypothetical to them, what ends up happening is that, of course, they take the stance they don't want that over. But when you actually argue from a really strong position, that is, so if your kid's going to have sex anyway, you have the option of either A, them doing it in their bedroom where they know that you are just outside, and to make sure that they have ways to access parents and all the other good things that will protect them. Like, let's say their partner goes over and above and does something shitty. If they scream for help, you're right there. But if you basically make your kid afraid to ever come to you, you are not an open book to your kids. They don't feel safe being with you. Then they're going to go fuck somewhere else. Maybe the other kid's house. Maybe the back of a car. But it's always going to be somewhere potentially more risky and with more ways of getting, you know, things going poorly. And so my argument is that if you are trying to change the material outcomes of that hypothetical, it is better to, despite the discomfort of knowing that your kid is sexually active, it is better to support them in their sexual activity from a safe and sane perspective rather than acting in an authoritarian manner which leads to harm. Yeah, abstinence-only education, like the last stat I saw on that, it's been a while, but I remember the Penn and Teller show bullshit where they were like, we spend like 3 children, like... Oh, yeah, that's it is. Hold on one second. I gotta fix chat. I am so sorry to people watching this. Jesus, fuck. There we go. Yeah, chat doesn't want to fucking fill every time. It's fucking irritating. So the point with this whole thing that I'm trying to laboriously get to is that, like, people online don't get this shit. They want to jump to fucking conclusions. And, well, I can make an argument that, yes, breaking confidentiality should be something that's fucking looked at negatively. This is an ethics issue. If somebody does this as a therapist to a minor, or does it to you, if you are a minor, the fact is that there are avenues. One, you can fucking end therapy. If you can, try to get out. Stop participating. Stop being cooperative. If your therapist has broken your fucking trust, that is, they've outed you to people that may potentially hurt you, then go fuck yourself. Like, they can just go fuck themselves entirely, right? Like, this needs to be a thing that we empower kids to do. The point of therapy is to heal and make things better. And if your entire way of engaging is based around... If your entire way of engaging is just to be there to tell the parents everything that happens, you're not helping this kid. Let's see. Elizabeth said, I found plenty of ways. Fucking true. Hanging Wednesday said, historically speaking, trying to stop people from having sex has a very low success rate. We all know how effective abstinence-only education is. Yeah, because, right, like I was mentioning before the fucking freeze, the last time I saw those stats was like Penn and Teller's bullshit where they were like $3 trillion every 2 years. Like, we spend so much fucking money on, was it trillions or billions? Probably billions, I want to say. But like we spend a huge amount of money on basically teaching kids to try to avoid sex, which they won't do anyway. Like, what? Like, what? Like, I don't understand. So, yeah. So let's look. So this thing talks about what the legal protections are. In some cases, the parents may not have the right to information about their child's treatment. These might include when a parent has signed an agreement to respect the confidentiality between healthcare provider and minor. This is why that form that I have would be great to use. When a parent has lost their rights, when a court specifically prohibits it, and when the child is emancipated. So basically, again, we come down to the notion again. This is fucking real. And this is from Good Therapy. There's sources. Again, confidential treatment, monitor on psychology. Does a parent have the right to a copy of psychotherapy notes from a child's treatment? This is from a HHS.gov HIPAA article. Yeah, like, this is not like just some random therapy thing talking shit. This is fucking how it is. Let's go over here. This is the APA. Question. I work with adolescents and I'm not clear on my ethical obligations considering confidentiality. When treating young children, the issue rarely arises. With adolescents, though, I sometimes struggle with whether to share information with a parent. The issue seems especially pointed when adolescents talk about activities that, while not necessarily dangerous, are illegal, such as shoplifting, the recreational use of alcohol, or experimenting with drugs. What do you do when an adolescent becomes sexually active? Of course, is a difficult issue. Does the APA Ethics Code provide guidance? It is most helpful to consider this question from 3 perspectives. That is the law, clinical practice, and ethics. The law. The law is a blunt instrument. As the issue of minors and confidentiality is well illustrated, minors cannot consent to treatment. A parent or guardian consents on the minor's behalf. There are exceptions. Certain states allow minors whom the law deems especially mature such as those who are married or in armed service, to consent to treatment. And sometimes minors may consent to treatment for substance abuse or sexually transmitted diseases. The exception or exceptions are, however, and prove to be the rule, that the law deems individuals under a certain age, often 18, not sufficiently mature to make treatment decisions. Right? So this is from the APA. American Psychological, right? American Psychology Association. Fuck, I can't talk tonight. Fuck them, whatever. Right? So, like, clinical practice, we have, from a clinician's perspective, the situation is more complex. An important aspect of treatment is to foster an individual's autonomy. And a great pleasure of treating adolescents is the way that they will come to enjoy their growing independence. One aspect of independence is privacy. As a child grows into adolescence and adulthood, the surrounding zone of privacy should increase, thus making more room for a more defined sense of self and a greater sense of autonomy. A paradox thus arises. Good clinical treatment may require what the law generally refuses, that is, a zone of privacy. So this is why in my previous work I actually advocated a whole lot for a particular form I have that basically says, hey parents, this is the thing. And I think these things should be used in regular, because in a lot of cases, this gets to be a problem. If you're dealing with authoritarian parents, people who are incredibly aggressive, and I will talk about on a future stream the idea of what I mean when I say authoritarian parents. I'll talk about different parenting styles and stuff. There is a way in which, ethically, in the example of the 17-year-old from Twitter, ethically speaking, this person did not do right by them. They did something shitty. By law, they most likely were not breaking it. And we need to make people better consumers so they understand this. This is how you clean up mental health. You make people more aware of what the rules are so they can essentially catch shitty clinicians, right? Like, that's how you do that. So we also have, let's see here, a matter of law, privacy rights to minors, talks about it as well. We have confidentiality with concerns to minors. This one's from counseling.org. When working with minors, confidentiality can be a tricky situation. There are a number of ethical standards in the 2014 ACA Code of Ethics to consider, including A1A, primary responsibility, A2A, informed consent, and etc. Yeah, so what it basically comes down to is that, yes, while you have to make a decision to some degree as a therapist, who is the client? Right? This is the thing that counselors get into a lot. Who is the client? If the client is the kid, then that's who I'm loyal to. Before anyone else, I'm not loyal to the parents. I'm not loyal to anyone else but the kid. By the way, if you're liking the stream, please like, comment, subscribe. I would also deeply appreciate if people want to donate. You can do so at... So yeah, I think this is a really big deal, because when clinicians are working with minors, this shit can get dumb. And I want to be really clear. If you are a clinician watching this, knock this shit off if you're doing it. Parents are not the client, and parents are not the ones that need to know everything. In the examples that were given in that other article, by definition, if a kid's stealing, I don't give a fuck. Like, I care in the sense that I don't want them to get caught, and I don't think that's a good thing to do. But in the sense of, like, is this going to cause harm to them? Like, it's not direct harm. It has a chance of harm. But again, we get into the issue of it's not my job to police them. It's my job to help them grow and move past whatever the things they're dealing with are. There's a reason kids don't tell their parents shit. Because at some point their parent lost their shit on them, and they learned that they're not safe. Right? And this is the reality. This is the thing that I think people need to take into. So to finish up this segment or this thought, I'm just going to say it again. It's really fucking important to keep a kid's confidence, unless they're doing something that can actively harm them in the moment, or something that's going to cause harm, or you're afraid this kid's suicidal or something like that. I don't think it's worth it. I have too many teenagers I work with that I want to maintain their trust. I actively believe and am protective of these kids. And I don't think it's appropriate to fucking sell them out. And that's exactly what it is. The parents may be the ones paying, but they're not the client. And this is something a lot of therapists forget. And that girl on Twitter is the exact thing that happens. A kid confides in their fucking therapist that they're queer, and then what ends up happening is the fucking therapist outs them, and shit gets wrong. Right? So therapists, do fucking better. Queer teens deserve your fucking confidentiality. Right? So yeah, I think I've proven this point. I think this is a pretty solid argument. I'll say for shits and giggles as well that I feel like in a lot of ways this has got to be the way things are. You have to, at some level, be willing to go to bat for kids. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, ring the bell to get notifications of when I can upload stuff. Look forward to the bizarrely cut videos from this stream, as well as other things. And to some degree, in my humble opinion, you can donate. You can give me a tip at Streamlabs. The link will be down in the description. You can also become a patron. Those things help me a lot. But yeah, you have to be loyal to the kid. That's my thing, and especially queer kids. I don't know why you're a fucking therapist if you're gonna pull that shit. So, be better.